Hello again, everybody. I have another message. This one's from a contribution to my GoFundMe through YouTube. So here we go. Hey, Ollie, because you may not have time to view my videos, I thought it might be easier for you to read a letter instead. This is the basic rundown. There is so much more. I hope all is well with you and I am enjoying your latest content. For me, it started in early 2010 when I met my new boyfriend's mother. She seemed a little strange, clung to my boyfriend, always hugging him and asking him about his sex life. Boyfriend was 23 at the time I was 18. Although we had only been together for a few months and the news was relatively new to us, my boyfriend decided to tell his mother that I was pregnant. She seemed happy, but when my sister-in-law heard the news, she burst into tears, asking if I was scared, my boyfriend would leave me, how she likes a bloke, but is still too scared to make the first move and be committed in a relationship. It was a strange experience to see how quickly our pregnancy announcement turned into my sister-in-law's life story and counseling session. Well, narcissists always are going to make your moments about themselves. I mean, that's very common. So, because you're about to be the center of attention, now she has to make it all about her. Fast forward a few months when we met up with my mother-in-law when I was 20 weeks pregnant. My mother-in-law travels for work, so we didn't see her often. Again, she clung to my boyfriend, held his hand, and always had his arm around him. Ugh. Red flag. We invited her to come along to our ultrasound, but she said she wasn't interested, but threw us a few $100s to get a car seat and some clothes. We got engaged shortly after, and then in December, our daughter was born with multiple health issues. We knew she was coming early and had a birth defect, meaning her internal organs were outside her body. Oh, wow. Doctors believed she had other issues and would die immediately at birth or shortly after. My family had arranged to be with us at the hospital when she was born to offer support. When the mother-in-law knew this, she also had to take the day off of work to be there. Although she was working close to Melbourne, as she's in Australia, at the same time, she only came to see us 3 times in the first week of being in the neonatal intensive care, and not at all for the next 3 weeks. We were transferred closer to home, and we didn't see her again for a few months until after we were discharged, and we just happened to be near where she was working at the time. During that visit, I asked her to wait 15 minutes after having a smoke before she held our daughter, who was still having some breathing issues. At 10 weeks old, was still smaller than a newborn. She said okay, but failed to adhere to this basic rule. As soon as our backs were turned, she was all over our daughter, regardless of how long it had been since her smoke. It was blatant disrespect. Nah, obviously. She proceeded to ask about our upcoming wedding plans, saying that all her family were excited to attend. I said that we were only having grandparents, one uncle or aunt, and a few friends. We're having less than 30 wedding guests. She said that her family will always do everything together and that it was unacceptable to only have a few of them, and she would talk to my boyfriend and he would take her side, which he didn't. She offered to pay us to let her family come. Yeah, and they'll always try to take over your wedding, you know. My parents did on my first one. It's not about you, it's about her. It's about something she can show off in. And I guarantee you she would have been around more if your daughter was going to be born healthy. But she didn't have much to show off, so why show up? We met up again 5 months later at my sister-in-law's 21st engagement party. We again reiterated the 15-minute smoke rule, and she said okay. Our daughter was having some serious stranger anxiety at the time and didn't want anyone to hold her anyway. After several snarky comments about my weight, what I was wearing, and our parenting techniques, things finally erupted the next day at the pub. After saying we were leaving to make the journey home, 3 hours, she asked to hold our daughter, and I started saying that she'd literally come in from a smoke. I was going to say, but we'll wait a few more minutes so you can have a hold, but I didn't get the chance. Her partner exploded that we were making them feel like they weren't good enough as grandparents. She burst into tears. I said I was going to be spoken to like that, and the rules are in place to keep our daughter safe. She's already had a fight for her life. We weren't going to put her back at risk. I took my daughter and went outside, while my husband stayed inside for 30 minutes comforting his grief-stricken mother. Yeah, my parents pulled their bullshit at my daughter's christening. So, any type of public venue, anything like that, they're going to make an issue. They're going to make an issue. And a lot of it might be to dissuade you from calling her out. Like, where you been for 5 fucking months and now you want to hold my kid? It's like you had 5 months to be here, support me to hold your granddaughter, but you only want to do it seems like she only wants to do it in front of people. We finally left. My husband and I had many fights over the next few days while he defended his mother. He was sending multiple texts a day, calling me every name under the sun, saying how stuck up I was, how I make everyone feel inferior, how I'm overprotective as a parent, how I obviously think she's a pedophile, and if my boyfriend marries me, she will never speak to him again. This went on for 2 months, a constant stream of abuse from the mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and all mother-in-law's families, plus family friends. It was a classic smear campaign. Seems like your mother-in-law has some money since she works so much and she travels a lot, which is probably what's keeping her flying monkeys around. Yet your mother-in-law only seems to care about venues where she can be viewed in front of other people. There's no one-on-one time. There's no, hey, let me come come babysit your daughter so you can go out and see my No, everything that revolves around your mother-in-law revolves around her being seen publicly doing what she wants to do. If no one's around, she could give a fuck. Because of how her parents reacted, we classed him as a loose cannon and did not invite him to our wedding. When invites were sent out, he didn't want to come anyway. We copped abuse for that too. Did you ever once think about how I would feel not having the man I love at my own son's wedding? Our wedding passed in September 2011. It was awful. She and her family ruined the day. But 4 years down the track, we were finally able to see some positives. In January 2012, the mother-in-law's father was dying. My husband was summoned, manipulated into going to see him die. I was forbidden. He was the victim of abuse over the 4 days he was there, and then again at the funeral. I was not allowed to go to the funeral either. He got told, you are to come alone. No one wants to see her. Well, then he shouldn't have went at all. He shouldn't have went at all. I don't even understand why he would have gone to begin with. Or I don't even understand why you would have wanted to go since you don't like these people anyway. Remember, death doesn't absolve any narcissism. After the funeral, and when my husband was home safe with me, 5 hours away, he finally broke the news that he had been putting off for a few months that we were expecting another child. The response was, I would have thought you'd let me see my granddaughter a bit more before you did this, followed by tears. My husband tried to make a stand by saying, these are the rules for our daughter. You just need to listen to him. She's our daughter. The mother-in-law hung up and we didn't hear a peep for a few weeks. Of course it is. They don't ever want to be told that they're over the line or they're out of bounds. You're going to see the typical narcissistic runaway response. Our son was born July 2012, a perfect, healthy boy. My husband, after nearly 24 hours, finally got the nerve to ring his mother. Her response was, well, I'm not happy for you. I'm not excited about a child I'm never going to see. More hysteria, and she hung up as my husband burst into tears. She had rants that she hated my parents, whom she had only met twice because they were able to be real grandparents and she wasn't. And let's be honest, even when we were on speaking terms, she didn't even really ask about how our daughter was. Didn't want to visit because our roads were too hard on the car. Can you believe that? Yeah, I can believe that. Whose decision is it not to see her granddaughter? All you're asking her is not to smoke for 15 minutes before touching her. She can come see her, and you could have seen her anytime she wanted to. And your husband needs to get over this. He needs to accept what his mother is, and before it destroys him. She didn't want to stop in on her way past, just wanted to go home. She didn't want to travel up here. She just wanted a holiday on her own. She just wanted to go see her daughter instead. She has never been to our home in nearly 6 years. In the October letters were sent back and forth, which I address in my videos on my channel. And since October 2012, we have been no contact. She and her family has not seen our 5-year-old since she was 9 months old. She has never met our 3.5-year-old. None of her family has. It's probably, and you know what? That's probably for the better. She's doing you a favor. She wrote to us claiming she never knew the rules about smoking, and if she did, she would have respected it. She claimed she never told anyone about the issues going on with us and her. And how would you know if I don't speak to any of the family anyway? You have no idea what the family are saying, that my husband doesn't care about his real family. See, this is good because this is something that happens after no contact for a while, and then you somehow reconnect and talk to them. They'll act like, the things that were going on that were your issues, that they'll plead ignorant. They didn't know about it. And then they'll try to use your no contact as, well, how do you know what I haven't been saying anything. I haven't been, because you've been no contact. So how do you know? So they'll almost try to use like logic that would make sense. Well, how would you know if you're not around for sure? But this is typical narcissistic bullshit argument. And this is a tactic they'll use after you've been no contact for a while. They'll use the fact that you've been no contact to say, oh, I haven't really done anything. You won't talk to me. It's bullshit. She had always claimed that she had never said a word to anyone, including her golden child daughter. The daughter who openly admits that mom sends on all your texts and emails to me. We are a team. Of course they are. Of course they are. See, and that's the thing, like, the narcissist does have a problem controlling their enablers, because sometimes the enabler over-enables because they don't really understand what the narcissist is doing. So the enabler, thinking that they're helping the narcissist in their enabling, actually blow up the enabler's spot. And that's what happened here. Your sister or sister-in-law bragging about this alliance, okay, thinking she's helping out the narcissist, is actually exposing the narcissist. So, so that's actually a good thing. And it's actually funny to watch. She got so caught up in her own lies that she couldn't say a single thing without contradicting herself. Exactly. She has her golden child daughter, who she said flies to Europe for a holiday, bought her a $2,000 kitchen appliance that she never uses, flies her all over Australia so she can see her. She will get jealous of my sister-in-law, goes on holiday with her husband and not her mother. She's controlling everything my sister-in-law does, and she just goes along with it because she has too much to lose. She will lose the money and the inheritance. Sounds like your mother-in-law has a thing for not only your husband, but for your sister's husband as well. Your mother might just have some kind of sick narcissistic sexual fetish as well. So, like, Your sister's husband is like her husband. Her son, your husband is like her husband. She has this thing with like collecting pseudo husbands. You know, it's like she gets a charge out of it to keep someone else's man away from another woman, whether that's her own son or her own daughter's husband. It doesn't really matter. That's where it seems like she's getting her narcissistic supply from. And what does my husband get? Nothing. Every New Year's he gets a text saying, "Been thinking about you, love you so much." And I get one of those every now and again from Junkie the Fuck Clown as well. She'll send like a rogue text of how much she loves. Oh, go away. Ugh. While the sister-in-law will not have anything to do with us while I'm married to my husband, and claims my husband is too mentally unstable to have a relationship with her. And there it goes. It always just goes back to you're crazy. And when all else fails, when they're exposed for their lies and when their manipulations are exposed, it falls back to once again, yeah, you're crazy. Because that's it. Oh, well, he's just crazy. And that, who questions that? We have lost all family, long-term family friends, but we are stronger for it. Well, thank you for your message. I'm sorry it took me so long to find this one, but I would have got, I just couldn't, I literally couldn't find it. So I apologize, and there was a little bit of confusion. But it's a good story. It's a good message. It's once again one of these narcissistic mothers, sexual fetish type deals with their own kids. It's very telling what you said, even though it seemed like a bit of a throwaway, flying your sister around. It's not about your sister, it's about your sister's husband. That's where she's getting her charge from. That's why she's after her son. That's why she's flying around him. The reason she's nice to your sister is because of the husband. Trust me, that's the reason. Because this woman has got something misfiring in her head, where she likes to collect the attention of men who are close to her. Her son, your sister's husband, because it draws the attention away from someone else. She wants to draw the attention away of men from somebody else. And your sister-in-law doesn't even realize this is going on. She's going on, hanging on for the money. She doesn't realize she's being manipulated. And I'm not saying anything's going on between your brother-in-law and your mother-in-law, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. In her mind, this is like this mental thing, and that's enough for her to get her supply from. But that's what's going on. That's what's going on with your son, with your husband, because it's this, it's this weird relationship, which I basically said you called him out on based on his accusations, okay? But the brother-in-law is telling with the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law is doing all her bidding. This is how dumb your sister-in-law is, okay? She's doing the bidding for her mother, thinking she's doing her mother like a favor and screwing. But really, your mother is taking the attention of her husband away from his own life. And she doesn't realize, because all she sees is the money out of it. That's funny. That's funny. Stay away from this woman, because this woman has had the opportunity to see her daughter, her granddaughter, anytime she wanted. She didn't want to follow a few simple rules. She used the no contact as kind of like a wedging issue, where she's saying like, oh, well, you haven't been around, so how do you know what's being said and what's not being? It's bullshit. There's a reason why you went no contact. You don't want to talk to her. Stick to it. Don't talk to her. Another one of the family members dies over there. Fuck them. Don't go to the funeral and tell your husband. Don't go. These people are nothing but poison and misery for you. Why do you want to be around them? So thank you for your message. Thank you for your donation. I really appreciate it. To everyone else, if you enjoy this channel, please consider making a contribution to the GoFundMe link in the description box. And like this video, if you make a donation, your message goes right to the top of the list, and I'll immediately make you a video. Thanks again for watching, everybody. This is Ollie Matthews. I'll see you all again shortly.